Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Too Good to Be True podcast. I am your host, Pascal Mayala, aka Le Maréchal, aka the Black Leopard, aka the Black Phantom. Um, we got a lot of topics to talk about today, and if you're new on this podcast or you're a new listener on this podcast, I welcome you to the Too Good to Be True podcast that we talk about sports, culture, and sneakers sometime. Or if you're a listener that have been listening since just January 24th, 2024, I'm so grateful and humbled that you guys are a true loyal fan of this podcast. Now, let's talk about something today that I want to talk about the topics that I will choose. And don't forget, you can listen to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcast Manager, and maybe I will extend more on other platform on this podcast. So you'll never know, or maybe in the future I will do a YouTube channel. You'll never know what's gonna happen with this podcast. So let's get started. I want to talk about Cam Newton. After a week of social media and weeks that people was talking about Cam Newton fighting in his 7-on-7 camp, Cam Newton had finally spoken. If you haven't listened to his YouTube channel, 14-1 with Cam Newton, you can go watch it on YouTube, or you want to listen to the sneak peek that I'll let you listen. You'll be glad to listen. But before I do that, let's talk about what happened for the people who were not aware what happened. So I think it was a Friday or Saturday or Sunday. Cam Newton, a former QB for the Carolina Panthers, former MVP who led his the Panthers to the Super Bowl 50 against the Denver Broncos, and he lost to the Super Bowl. Got into a scuffle during his 7-on-7 camp versus the TSP on the football field. So if you haven't seen the video, you can go watch it on social media, on YouTube. A lot of people talked about it. Um, Even I covered it. I believe it was last week. Last week, I talked about it, and I got my opinion about it. And we didn't know what happened, and we didn't have uh, the not the resume. We didn't know about the detail what happened during the scuffle against those teenagers. Now Cam Newton had spoken, so I want you guys to and listen to his version that what happened in that fight, and then we'll go back to me and I will give my opinion. So everybody, this is the Cam Newton speaking for the first time after after the fight.
Or off the field, anything like that. It's like, so what really led to this? If you knew these guys, and what led to this?
I think that's a part of sports. You, you play tennis, you play golf, you play basket weaving, you play cricket, you play whatever sport. Obviously, football is a very physical sport. Now, people may say, what is 7-on-7? Okay. Right? 7-on-7 is a pass-centric football game that it's not physical, it's just whatever. And it's all in the game. Like, verbal communication is what people use to distract, to deter, to get in another person's head, right? And there was a lot of talking on both sides, on all sides, and let's just put it like that. So I don't want to point the finger and say, well, this person said this or that person said that. It's all in the nature of sports.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And am I saying that this is the first time it happened or the last time it will happen? It's just something that it starts with words and it should have ended with words.
Okay.
That's it. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm disappointed in myself by letting it escalate to what it did.
Uh-huh.
And that's why I'm apologetic to it. I've seen clips on clips on clips. I've seen, the content that they put out or whatever. The truth of the matter is this. Me being in my position, I should have never put myself in that position.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the truth. Because even then, it's like, that shit could have got ugly. Like, for real. It could have. And that's why I'm trying to bring the seriousness to this situation. Like, we can laugh about it. We can play, and I will always try to bring humor into something that's lighthearted, but this is a serious situation that I even seen a clip that said, like, people are laughing, but they weren't laughing about Nipsey.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? Or call it what you want. It's like, what if serious injury would have happened on either side?
Yeah.
Something happened to me, something happened to them. Now, my 8 children are fatherless now. Because now I'm being sued. Now I got something. It's just bigger than what they say, don't make a rational judgment in the heat of the moment. And there's times where that wasn't even the worst that I've been through. You see what I'm saying? Like, I've rendered my time, and people think, like, why is Cam doing this? It's like, no, I cannot. I owe a due diligence. I owe a service to the kids to say, like, hey, if I see Cam, this is my opportunity to touch him, to talk to him, to laugh with him, to, compete with him.
Yeah.
This is the only time that they may see somebody. So, dare I say, I'm not going to ever do it again, but I just let that situation escalate in a way that I didn't.
So
it didn't need it. Now, what's the biggest misconception about?
So you heard what Cam Newton got to say about it, about the incident that happened during the 7-on-7. And I'm sorry if this little sound you heard at the end. I'll have to do better than that. My apology. You heard what Cam Newton said. If you really pay attention in the beginning, what he said that it was a trash talking before the incident. So both teams were like what? Not arguing, but trash talking. Trash talking. Trash talking is normal. It's normal in sport. It's normal on a day in life. A day in every life. It's normal. It's normal. So I'm glad that Cam Newton spoke what he said, because things could have been bad. The trash talking, I'll say this is normal. But what happened after the trash talking, and you saw the fight after the fight? Because somebody could get hurt. Imagine if somebody put up a knife or a gun, like you said on the situation that happened. What happened? He got shot. It will be a different story. I'm glad that he didn't sue the person who fought. It, and it's sport. If you never play sport, it's pretty much difficult for you to understand. But if you have played sports, you know what I'm talking about. So I'm glad that he apologized and he can move on from it. But the one thing I will give Cameron an advice to him is that you better be careful who you trash talking. Trash talking used to be cool, which it is cool now. But some trash talking can be very, very dangerous. It can be led to another dimension that you probably never know what's going to happen. Argument, confrontation. Like you said, on what he said about everybody will laugh, but there ain't no laughing what happened to Nipsey Hussle, which is true. And I'm glad he brought the Nipsey Hussle situation because it got very bad. If you remember what happened to Nipsey Hussle in 2019 when he got shot by a guy, you probably know maybe because it was a misunderstanding, a miscommunication. Us black people, when I say black, I talk about African American. I talk about the African. I'm more I'm mixed. I'm pretty much African European and African Canadian. So I'm pretty mixed. I'm Mr. International. But as black men and black women, we need to hold ourselves accountable. We need to hold ourselves that if trash talking go to another dimension, that somebody will get a knife and kill you or stab you, that would be a different story. So I'm glad that Cam Newton um apologized, which he should. He should apologize. And I'm glad that he moved on from it. And my advice to him, you got to be careful. Just be careful. That's all I got to say about that. Now, I, before we continue, I will say this. We're in the month of March. So happy Women's Month today. And also March Madness is coming soon. We're in March, so we got to do the. I don't have the bracket with me, the March Madness, but I can't wait to see March Madness, NCAA March Madness. So if you're a fan of college basketball, this is for you. And also, the NFL Combine is still on, is continuing, and they're trying to look at those the future players who's going to be in the NFL draft. So if you watch it, go watch it the NFL Network. And also, and we have great news from the Philadelphia 76er on April 12th. Allen Iverson will get his sculpture in Philadelphia. They're trying to, like I said, they're going to unveil it in April 12th. That means probably the end of the regular season. And I will say this: congratulations to Allen Iverson, um, because I will say this: growing up in Ottawa, we don't have a basketball team, and five player I admired as a fan was Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, and Allen Iverson. I mean, Allen Iverson was so popular, and he was hip hop for the basketball world. I just add that, and everybody had an Allen Iverson jersey. Unfortunately, your boy Pascal never had a Allen Iverson jersey, but I did have a wristband and a headband like Allen Iverson. That's how much Allen Iverson impacted me in my life, and how popular AI was. So once again, congratulations. I can't wait to see it, and well deserve it. And also stick with Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson did a tribute to the late great Kobe Bryant. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen it, it is a 8 minute um a video. So I just want to give you the sneak peek of it. So I want you guys to listen to it, a sneak peek, and you can watch it the rest on YouTube. So here the sneak peek of the Dear Kobe from Allen Iverson.
What's up? I'm former 76er, Georgetown Hoya, and NBA Hall of Famer Allen Iverson. You might know me as The Answer or AI, but my friends call me Chuck. This is my story, originally written for the Players Tribune. Please be advised, this article contains adult language. Dear Kobe, this is going to be tough, but I need to get this off my chest. Everybody clear out for me and Kobe. Clear the paint for Chuck and Kobe one last time. Kobe Bean Bryant, my guy. The first time I saw you playing against Black Jesus, you were 18 years old. I knew you were a killer. That's when I realized you were going to be a legend in this game. You were going hard at Michael Jordan that night. No fear whatsoever. I mean, I knew from passing you in traffic over the years that you were a dog.
So you heard the sneak peek of Dear Kobe from Allen Iverson. Like he said, you can watch it on the Players Tribute on YouTube. And I will say this: that is a beautiful tribute from AI, because if you know, and especially this new generation don't understand how Kobe impacted and how AI impacted. Both guys were playing hard. If you remember watching the 2001 NBA Finals, that was the moment that I saw at NBA Finals. Like, damn, AI and Kobe going at it. And everybody remember the famous game one in the finals when Allen Iverson crossed Tyronn Lue and stomp on them. And there was another moment when Kobe and AI went trash talking back and forth. That was a special moment. Even though they were trash talking, they had a lot of respect. So that was a great tribute of Kobe Bryant by AI. like I said, it's a beautiful tribute. Now, the topic that I want to talk about today is got involved with uh Malcolm Hardman. If you don't know who's Malcolm Hardman, he is a uh I believe he's a player from the Chiefs, I believe he was a wide receiver. Let me double check that. Let me check that. Let me check that. Yeah, he's a wide receiver. He is a wide receiver for the Kansas City Chiefs, who won he's a two-time Super Bowl champion. Two-time Super Bowl champion with the Chiefs. And he did something that maybe it is true or not. That the Jets believed that Mecole Hardman leaked a game plan during the last season against the Jets, and this is pretty bad. On First Take, Stephen A. Smith has something to say about this. I want you to guys listen this what he's got to say, and then you're gonna listen on my take I'm about to say.
Let me tell you something right now. If you are Mecole Hardman, if the Jets, if there is a hole in their art, first of all, you got to speak on that immediately. Like I said, that's grounds for a lawsuit. Seriously, if they are false, because that's a career ender, y'all. That's a career ender. What locker room could he possibly go in if somebody believes it's true? If evidence came out that this is remotely true, what locker room could he go in? Nah, he got to speak up today. And if the Jets are wrong, he got to consider legal action. Seriously. Because it doesn't get
wild, man. I mean,
a greater indictment than. Am I right, Lewis? Does it get any worse than this as an indictment against
man.
a player?
No. I mean, no. You.
Now, my take on this situation. If it is true that Malcolm Hardman did not leak the Jet plan, I think he should sue the Jet. I mean, like you said, what? I mean, but like you said, what locker room that he had to go in to steal the plan against the Jets? That's not normal. What kind of player does that? If it is true, but if it is not true, he should sue the Jets, which he got every right to sue. But if it is true, and I say the term "if," people, because this is the first time I heard it. Something like this happen. This is the first time. And I know people will tell me, well, Pascal, but what about the spy gates? What about the spy gates? Yeah, not really, because the spy gate is a little bit different. What probably Malcolm Hardman did. It's two different thing. Like I always said, you can't compare bad behavior with other people's bad behavior. You can't compare the one shitty thing to another shitty thing. The one with the Spygate, it was terrible. It was horrible, and the league had to do something about this, and they got every right to do it back then. This time is a little bit different. If it is not true, like I said, he should sue the New York Jets for lying about him leaking the game plan against the Jet during, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, let me look at the ESPN, the last year regular season. I want to look at it right now. I'm gonna look at it now. When was it? I think it was week 4. Yes, week 4. A victory against the Jet. 23-20. Yeah, it was week 4 during the regular season. Like I said, if it is true that he leaked, he's in serious trouble. Hardman's in serious trouble. But if it is not true, I think he should sue the New York Jets for the lies that they did about him. And also, he needs to speak up right now. Right now, he needs to speak up about this situation. Because you can't say, oh, he did it and he's going to jail. What happened to you innocent until proven guilty, something like that? What happened to that law in the United States? Somebody in the U.S. tell me, send me on Twitter. I don't know about the United States law, the United States of America law. Either this term existed or is dead. Tell me, you're innocent until proven guilty. If this quote exists or not, if somebody should be guilty or not, I'm just wondering. But yes, if it is if it isn't true that he didn't do it, he should sue the New York Jets. Now, before I continue, I'll say thank you very much for the people who listen to this podcast. And if you're new, like I said, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're family to me. If you're a loyal Too Good to Be True podcast, I'll say also thank you very much to listen to my podcast. I'm so grateful, humble, and I hope this podcast will move forward to the future. And you don't know. Maybe one day in the future, I'll probably do a YouTube channel, or expand to other platforms. So I'm grateful and thank you very much. Now, I want to talk about Kiyan Anthony, who is the son of Carmelo Anthony. He got something to say about who is his GOAT in the NBA. And I want you guys to listen right now. And I will give my opinion on this. So please enjoy. So listen to it right about now.
As who is the GOAT basketball player?
Paul George is the best player. Kobe, When are you gonna say
Carmelo Anthony.
The fact that you didn't say your dad first is crazy to me.
I with the fact that he puts me to the side and he don't put me in that category. But out of here, because you keep trying me. We about to be 17. You talking about going to college. I want to see where you at.
So you got ones coming soon.
Ones and 1,000%.
You gonna win?
Am I gonna win? I've never lost an NBA 101. Never lost. Never NBA 101.
So this is your Jake Shuttlesworth moment.
This is, but I ain't gonna Jake Shuttlesworth. I ain't gonna kick the ball over. I ain't gonna kick the ball. I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna have mama talking about Jesus. I ain't gonna have that. You know what I'm saying?
Now you heard what he's got to say. So for the people who don't understand the background of this story, Lala Anthony and his son Kiyan Anthony went to Complex and they did I believe this show called let me try to find it. Let me try to if I remember. Oh, is their show called Goat Talk. So they ask question and one person had to answer who is the goat of for example who's the goat of music, who's the goat of sneakers, who's the goat of art, so on and so forth, something like that. Lala asked the question, who is the GOAT of basketball players? Kiyan answered that his GOAT is Paul George, Kobe Bryant, and you can see Lala was in shock, probably in disbelief that he did not mention his dad first. So you can say that is the disrespect I ever seen in my life. The most disrespectful I ever seen from a son about not putting his dad in GOAT conversation. You can see Carmelo Anthony's reaction, not just angry but just laughing on his podcast with I believe it's with Mero, with Mero 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. Well, by the way, I love their podcast with the with the Mero, which is excellent, by the way. And they got their special guest, Draymond Green, who came on the podcast on this show. So what is my opinion on this one? My opinion on this one is I don't have a problem with it not putting your father in the GOAT conversation. I'll be honest with you. I will not put my dad on GOAT conversation because the son have his own favorite players, even us as an adult growing up, who's my GOAT, and my son he's thought about who's the GOAT, so I don't have an issue with it. Now, if you ask me who is my GOAT, and this current GOAT, I love DeMar DeRozan. He's my favorite player because he played for my Raptors. I love Vince Carter too because I'm a Raptor fan. And don't get offended, people, because I'm a Raptor fan. A kid who grew up in Ottawa. How come you can say this, but Scott, a kid who grew up in Ottawa and he's a Raptor fan? Yeah, because in Ottawa it's not known as a basketball town. It's known as a hockey town. Hockey town in Ottawa is number one. So don't get offended, people. But if you ask my personal GOAT, I would say Michael Jordan. So that's simple as that. He's the GOAT. And that I don't have an issue with the what the Kiyan had to say. Another news that about that 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 I try to watch on social media. Jordan Poole is talking about the new generation. I don't know what he's talking about, but I will let you guys listen, and I'm gonna have some my opinion and my takes on it. So he's talking about the new generation of basketball in his opinion. So let's listen to what he's got to say.
Like in this new generation, because growing up in this new, everything's social media based, everything's lights, spotlight. Like, how has it been for you to be able to stay low and still do that? You went to La Lumiere. It's not like you've been in the spotlight for a minute. So.
I have never been that way. It's almost like natural. And I'm more of an old soul. If that makes sense. So that goes to the new generation who wants to post everything. Show that they're in the gym. Show that they're like shooting on the court after a game. It's about the views. It's about the clickbait. It's about like making fun of people online, right? That's just what's hot. That's what's new. That's what's trendy right now. I've never really been that type of guy. Always been humble. Always been modest. God-fearing. So I just come in. I get my work in. Great teammate. Try to help my teammates get better. Just be a good person. And I just love to hoop. So at the end of the day, that's just going to show. My talent's going to show. The hard work is always going to get put in, and I'm just trying to be a good example for those who go through tough times. I mean, it comes with everybody goes through tough times, but it makes us stronger. We grow from it. We learn from it. We're going to look back at this in a little bit and just laugh at it, honestly.
So this is what Jordan Poole got to say about the new generation of young generation of basketball. And I got to say this, he's not wrong. He's absolutely right. Because today, society, kids, and we live in a world with social media that kids on their Instagram, just for looking for likes, especially when you play sports. And I'll say this is pretty much sad. They don't put up the work. They're not humble. They think they're the cool things in sliced bread, and then when they come to the NBA, they bring in harsh reality. And I would say that the new generation of kids who playing basketball don't do this for clickbait. Don't do this because you see a crowd and you see fans are hyped and you gotta do a move or a crossover and you can want to get 1,000 likes. No, that's not how it work in this real world. You gotta be humble. You gotta put the work. One thing is missing about the NBA, in the AAU is the fundamental, and I think the AAU in the USA has pretty much ruined because they're playing like 6 games into practice once, which is kind of ridiculous. Because now when they go to the next level, they're gonna be they're gonna be exactly the same player. There's no progress. There's no humbleness because they think they got everything that have been handled, and that's not how the real world works. That's why you see a lot of European when they come to the United States, they are humble, or someone from a foreign country, or like ourselves. as Canadian, and I'm still Canadian in blood, we're humble. We are humble because we want to work. And I'm so proud of what Jordan Poole got to say. Because we don't see a lot of players, even in the United States, to get humble. We need to be humble. So, this is what I got to say about that. Now, we can talk a lot of things. So, we got like 20 minutes. So, we got 20 minutes. So, let's enjoy this. So, I was watching a nightcap with Shannon and
Kevin Durant says.
Sorry about this. I was watching the nightcap with Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco, Chad Ocho Cinco, and they tried to debate what is the greatest album ever. So I want you guys to listen to this, and you're gonna listen to my opinion about it.
Kevin Durant says Drake's Certified Lover Boy is his favorite album ever. What's your favorite album ever?
Oh, that's easy. From top to bottom, or bottom to top, whichever way you want to go. The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
I would need you to be specific when you talk about, for me,
right?
Like rap.
Right.
For me, it's All Eyes on Me, the double album by Tupac.
Real?
Yeah. Then you got Dre's album. You got Snoop. The Chronic. How the Chronic is not up there?
Hey, you know what's funny? The Chronic would be good, but I don't think the Chronic or Snoop Dogg would really resonate with today's kids because the sound of music has changed.
That old stuff still hit.
It does hit, but you ask some of the younger generation to listen to some of the stuff from back then, they'd be like, man, what the hell is this?
You heard what Chad Ochocinco got to say. So, Shannon Sharp said that the Chronic of Dr. Dre, that's his favorite album. Lauryn Hill, not Lauryn Hill, but Chad's favorite album is The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, which, by the way, I did listen to this album a long time ago. It is awesome. Actually, both of all three of them, All Eyes on Me. I have it on my original laptop in my house. I just put it on my old laptop that I have. And I gotta say this: all those albums are pretty a great album. If you ask me what is my favorite album, the greatest album ever, in my opinion, so I got two favorite albums that I love. One is 50 Cent and Get Rich or Die Trying. That is a classic album that I love, by the way. I love this album. And my second album is Lil Wayne, The Carter 3. That has to be one of the best albums I ever heard from Lil Wayne. I don't care what people gotta say. Lil Wayne, The Carter 3 is one of my favorite albums of all time. So, come debate with me. Come fight me on social media. So, but that's one of my favorite albums. Now, Taylor Rooks, talking about something about her emotion during a segment with Joy Taylor under new podcast, the Too Personal Show, which, by the way, I listened to it, which is pretty cool. You can see two women have a sit down talk about their emotion, because we don't really see emotional women when they don't talk about sport. So I want to give you the what Taylor Rooks got to say about her emotion, about the process, about the anxiety, mental health, and here she got to say something about that.
Therapy, though, we've been talking a lot about my mom and about our relationship and how sometimes it's very hard for me to show my emotions because growing up, I didn't always see emotions. I feel like I'm going to cry now because I'm thinking about the conversation, but I told my therapist that I wanted to talk to my mom about this because I can't remember times that, like, I even saw my mom be emotional. And I, in turn, am not very emotional. Even though I'm crying right now, I'm not a crier. Like,
This is why the therapy is working.
And so I said to my mom, I'm like, in therapy, we've been talking a lot about the fact that, like, I never feel sad, or I don't necessarily, I kind of work on autopilot a lot of the times. And I just said, like, why do you feel like maybe that is? And she is just talking to me about how I was growing up and the things that she had to deal with when I was growing up, and that sometimes it was hard for her because she was feeling like she was in turmoil with things with her personally. And so she didn't always even have the capacity to show emotion. She just wanted to be like this steady hand. So I'm more picking somebody that I gained such tremendous faith in my mom and having that conversation. Because going into it, I was really nervous because that's just not a thing that we discuss.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to have that moment of, like, I see you and I understand why you view the world the way you do, because it's also how I view the world. I think it was therapeutic for both of us. And it also continued to make me more in tune with, like, how I feel about things that happen around me. Because I don't think up until this point, genuinely, like up until I turned 31, I started to think about how I feel. And not just like what I'm doing. And funny enough, actually, like a week ago, I was at a dinner and he was telling me about an interview that he watched where the guy says, before I turned 31, I never cried. And now I turn 31 and I cry every day. And that's how I feel a lot of the time. And it's sad that, like, both for me and even for my mom, I just think we didn't give ourselves space to cry or to be sad. I don't know what it is like to be sad. And so I'm now trying to, like, further embrace, like, what that emotion feels like. And I'm not sad right now. I'm actually really happy, but it makes me cry to think about that moment with my mom.
So you heard what Taylor Rose got to say about her emotion with her mom, talking to her mom. I'm gonna admit that I'm not a woman. If you're a woman who listen to this, this is for you. This is for you. If you're a guy and you can relate that with your mom, which I personally do have a relationship with my mom, this is also for you. It is hard to bring up emotion when you talk about something. Going to therapy, therapy, yeah. Talk to your mom. Because it's very hard to bring out the emotion. And I personally couldn't figure it out myself, who I was. And still to this day, I try to figure out who I am as a person. But with Taylor Rooks and her relationship with mom was pretty much complicated. And she brought something at the end that she said that he was talking to a guy that at the age of 30 was not had never cried, but when he was 31, he started to cry more and more. And I'm 30. I cry, but when I get my 31 in what is it, in 3 months, in June, I'm gonna cry still, because it's very hard to have a relationship with your mom, with a mother in this world. You know, and also it's a journey. It's a journey for everybody. It's a journey for a lot of a lot of the people around when we talk about um, anxiety, depression, and so on and so forth. And this is great. This is amazing that Taylor Rooks had to go through. So I will applaud her for that, because it's very, actually we've seen it. We've seen a lot of emotion with the woman in this current generation. It also in this um in the era with social media, that everybody is vulnerable. Everybody's vulnerable. So I applaud Taylor Rooks for that. So we do have a 8 minute left to talk about. Um, I gotta say this. I saw a lot of people complaining about Candace Owens going to Joe Budden podcast. If you don't know who is uh, Candace Owen, who she is a I'll tell you, she's a conservative political commentator, author, activist, and television presenter. And I would say this, even though people are complaining, I don't know when it's gonna be releasing. I'll be honest with you. I don't know about when it's gonna be released, but I'll watch their podcast and give it my thought on it. And I would say this, even though you might disagree or agree with her opinion, but you cannot ignore it. Because I do like, I'll be honest with you, I do like Candace Owen, number one. Even though there's some her thought I disagree, but it doesn't mean I cannot respect her opinion. But I will watch Joe Budden podcast. If you don't know the Joe Budden podcast, is Joe Budden. Joe Budden, he's a rapper, a rapper, and that's it. That's it. So we have like what, 6 minutes left to talk about. So we got 6 minutes. So I want to say this: happy birthday to Hall of Famer Chris Webber. I am very proud to watch him when he was playing Sacramento Kings, and and um, and happy birthday for the former Fab Five. If you ever watch the documentary, go watch it on ESPN Plus and so on and so forth. Now, since we have a lot of time, I want to say this. before I leave. I want to talk about a little bit the the two-person got arrested. Uh, this I think it was this week. Oh yeah, I believe it was this week. They finally arrested two-person who got involved with the Jam Master Jay assassination. Um, I believe what was it? What was it? How many years he? I don't know how many years he have passed, but wait, he died. Well, he died in 2002. 2002. So it was like what? What was it? 2002. 2002. Like 20. What is it? 22 years. Um. Um. After his death. So I'm glad that we found the two-person who killed the Jam Master Jay, so the family can really rest and be at peace. So I'm glad that justice has been served, but we don't know if it is them. If it is them, God, Lord knows what they're gonna do with them. Now, I wanted to talk about the free agency, but we don't have time, and the NFL's combine is still on sorry, the NFL combine is still happening. It's still continuing, and there's a lot of NBA basketball, hockey. We didn't have time to talk about hockey, so I got 3 minutes left. So let's talk about the Winnipeg Jet, the Winnipeg Jet quickly. Just quickly because I don't have time. What is going on with the Winnipeg Jet with this low attendance? They're having a great season, but they're having a low attendance of people showing up in the stadium. So the chairman Gary Bettman had to go to Winnipeg, talk to their fans, and I'm gonna say this, that the fans should attend more because you guys having a great season. So I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand what's going on with the Winnipeg Jet, because if they move again, it's going to be over for the Winnipeg Jet. So for a smaller market, but I will talk about it in another time. Another time with the Winnipeg Jet. Sorry, Winnipeg Jets. But I mean, I don't want to see them move again, because if they move, that will be the second time. So I would say this: please, please, the fan, go see your team play, because you are guys in the playoffs. So that's what I gotta say. So thank you very much to listening my podcast. If you want to follow me on social media, on Instagram, it's Pascal_Mayala_15. Same thing for Threads. On X, formerly Twitter, is Belly versus PMM. So you can see Pascal M Mayala. And if you want to listen to this podcast, go to Apple Podcasts. You can listen to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcast Manager. So I would say this: thank you very much to listen to our podcast, and I hope everybody have a great day or great evening. And I will say this: see you next time.